All right, so we went panic mode this week. DJ had a big range day set up, and we had that elbow issue flare up.
This is everything we went through. So from me to you, if you have tendonitis real bad, especially in the forearm, for me, it is this section. I mean, I can stick with a needle and show you exactly where it is. And when it flares up, it goes real bad for me, man. So for the guys still have to be able to perform and get through that, there's some stuff we do. I've had tendonitis, I mean bad, man. And it's so bad, I can't do anything for it. And we had fat grips and we were doing hammer curls and crushed them, did all our sets. And the moment I set it down, the whole thing locked up. My hands started to shake. I couldn't do anything. And we still had like 3 or 4 more exercises. I'm like, I have no connection to this hand right now. And we're going to the range in less than an hour. And I freaked out on him. I'm like, brother, I don't know what to do right now. Let's do it all. And this is everything we did. And we went out to the range. We shot content. You guys will see it. And by the time I got there, from the moment we wrapped the floss on and dropped all this stuff on to the moment I got to the range, ripped it out and crushed the range. It was totally fine. And it's never been like that before. And I think it's because we just systematically attacked it one thing after the other and exhausted all of our resources to see.
Unbeknownst to me, DJ is not taking tennis lessons. So even though it would be classified as that tennis elbow aspect, that lateral epicondylitis, this is definitely something that we've dealt with this quite a bit, as you've said.
I call this breacher elbow because it sounds cooler.
That sounds way cooler than tennis elbow.
Yeah, the tennis elbow didn't sound cool. Chicks don't dig tennis elbow.
Breacher's elbow.
Yeah, breacher elbow.
So a couple things, definitely not plugging any of these items, but this is something that has helped me and something you, Dr. Oy's pain relief gel. Find it on Amazon. It is more on the costly side, but I think it's pretty effective. And that's just something, rubbing it on into that key spot, massaging it in. Something we'll do just right out the gate is the pre-workout, some sort of pre-session, something that we're doing. If we're already having issues, this is something we can do to get on it early. DJ put this on before our last session, or was it yesterday? Yeah. And he was just like, hey, where's that lotion at? Just put it on, just preemptive. Kind of helps. For me, I think it's a good lotion aspect. Nothing's going to fix it. There's no magical thing, but just something we can address pretty quickly.
I really grind it in there, man, and I try to do the same motion. So I'll grab my fingertips and I'll drive it in right on that tendon, and I'll just start to rotate my wrist back and forth.
That cross-frictional rub.
Yep. Yeah, man, just really trying to break up whatever that is.
This next guy. So this is a $20 Ryobi car buffer. I'm pretty sure you guys probably have a pretty fancy massage gun at your device. We have those too, that $400 or $500 thing that collects dust until you need it in the last resort. $20 Home Depot. I found this to be pretty beneficial when it comes to bringing blood to the area. The frictional vibrations just kind of brings a lot of attention to that area. And that's just something as simple as creating a stop. So creating a stop on me. And then from there, just kind of moving through, like DJ said, just kind of starting on it. And then he can start to rotate his body now. So he can start to rotate. He can start to bend that elbow a little bit if he wants. I'll even hand this to him and have him do it on his elbow. So now you do it personally. It's kind of bend that elbow as you're kind of working through that. Digging into a spot. It's not as pinpoint, but you can put it on its edge to have that spot. But from there, he's just kind of go throughout the whole thing. And once again, when we have a spot that's giving us issues, we want to make sure we go above and below, not just on that one spot where that knot feels or that tension feels. Kind of go above it, kind of go below it. Try to play with that whole muscle length from insertion into origin or where we're having this issue at. Kind of work around that surrounding tissues as well, because maybe just because you're having pain in one spot, just because there's smoke there, doesn't mean that's where the fire's at. So we want to make sure we work around and address all those surrounding tissues. So that's low-hanging fruit. DJ said kind of self-massaging with that cream, getting into a bigger surface area with that vibrational friction. That's kind of like relieve pain. Try to relieve pain, relieve tension right away, and then we'll go to something a little bit more intensive. He'll kind of make a fist on me, but you can do this by yourself as well if you're by yourself. This is floss tape, just off Amazon. I think the brand is Rock Tape, but if you just type floss bands, this is something we'll use for our groin. We'll use this for elbows. We'll use this for our knees, for our ankles, just to kind of create some restriction on that tissue. DJ did this actually while he was driving down to the range. I did it on him before he left, and he kind of wore it on the way down there. What were you doing while you were driving, while you had this on?
Just trying to give it 90-degree bends, man. Not too. Once this thing gets bound on you really can't get a full contraction. Just enough. Just try to force the blood flow in there. Just driving. That's all I'm trying to do is just force that blood flow. And you can feel it, man. It's super tight. Gives you a really good forearm pump. For me, driving in the car, just trying to break this thing up as much as I can. And it feels like my whole hand goes numb. And I'm like, as soon as I take this thing off, it's going to be worse. As soon as I take it off, it's going to be worse. And as soon as I release it, it is nothing but better. it feels like it shouldn't work. It feels like some kind of voodoo magic.
Yeah.
But I don't care. It works, dude. Like even when I pull my calf, same thing. We wrap a calf up and I'm just in here doing subtle little calf raises, same thing. As soon as I take it off, I'm like, oh, finally a little bit of relief. But I mean, Davis had a groin thing for years now. He does it every time we do legs. He throws these floss bands on it. Really helps.
I look at this as like restricting tissue. So think about it as, if we understand there's something happening here and I have the length of this arm, I like the concept of like a garden hose. Wherever this is kinked at, I don't care. I'm just going to kind of restrict all this movement and try to add movement, like DJ said, bending the elbow, just kind of playing with this tension. And hopefully when I release all this tension, take this floss band off, maybe that restriction now kind of that tension distributes a little bit differently. So this is just something that you're not going to have no negative side effects from this. We wouldn't do this longer than 5-10 minutes. Nothing crazy here, but you can do push-ups with this. You can do any sort of aspect. If you're warming up, man, I have a lot of elbow issues. Wrap it up. Do some push-ups, do some triceps, do some bicep curls. Just kind of play with that tension and then unwrap, kind of go through it. And then from there, it should feel a little bit different. Now, how long that relief lasts, not really sure. It depends upon you and how bad the issue is and what caused the issue.
Yeah.
And then from there, any arm sleeve would do. This is a 2XU arm sleeve, but compression. When it comes to the arms, the legs, the limbs of any point, just having some sort of compression, I think helps. Go fist on, there you go, hands on. Run this all the way up. This is something I've personally used in the past when my elbow problems have flared up, but it just distributes tension. So helps with compression, bring a little of attention to the area, but it just helps me when I'm doing pulling patterns. In the past, I've had some little bit of more on the golfer's elbow side from trying to do so many pull-ups. I think you've mentioned that in the past as well. But this sort of thing right here, you can wear it when you're not training, or you can wear it when you're training. It doesn't have to be this specific brand, but just some sort of compressive element to kind of load this tissue, to kind of give you some relief, and might feel like the pain kind of relinquishes as well.
Yeah. I mean, we had on the cream, we hit all the things, hit the floss band, we threw this thing on. If you guys look at the range videos later, I shot the entire day with this, and it was money, man. By the time I rolled out of here until I got in that truck, I mean, I couldn't even shake your hand. I mean, my hand was literally jackhammering like this. I told Manny, I was like, brother, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this range day. We've already bought it. We've already got all the camera crew out there. Like,
Yeah.
How am I going to make it through? And by the time we got down there, one of the best range days we've ever had. And I think it's really just by not just accepting that's what's going to happen to you right now. Like, hey, we got to cancel the range day. I jack my arm up. Let's exhaust every single resource we can. Let's give it the full max amount of time we can until we have to step on stage. Let's see how we can go. And to me, money. I wish I would have had these kind of protocols when I was in the military, because I'll tell you what, dude, there is nothing worse than climbing to the side of a ship on a caving ladder, getting to the other end, and then dry heaving because you can't move your arms. Now I've got to hold a gun, and I can't hold it steady. Because it ain't going to get better. You got to be able to exhaust all the resources. It's a really cool combination to be able to knock out.
We've talked about the importance of training around things. DJ's mentioned as well when he blew out his shoulder and we were still squatting every day. It's what can we do? And something like this where DJ's like, we're still going to train. I know DJ's showing up the next day. I know he's going to the range and he's going to shoot hundreds of rounds. It's like, how do we keep him in the game? Something as simple as this. May it help? Maybe. It's worth trying at least, and it did actually help in your case. So these are things that we can react to an issue, but how can we be proactive? We have 2 strength movements for that. So let's jump over here on this fat grip. You can take that arm sleeve off.
Brendan didn't want me to keep his stuff.
Well, I stretched it out for you from my workout earlier.
Yeah, Brendan's 18-inch arms. Thanks. Set of flex.
So this is just a simple setup that we've used in the past, using a fat grip to kind of load that rotation from a banded setup inside of a rack. Kind of walk through this, DJ.
Hey, not a plug for these, but if you guys have not tried these things, just to throw them in your gym bag, throw them on every dumbbell. Dude, grip strength is the thing that only our grandfathers have that I wish every young man and woman had. This is definitely a good way to get it. It's a safe, healthy way to get it. Not going to overdo it. Throw them on a set of dumbbells, man. It makes everything a little bit harder. I mean, they have challenges where dudes, they throw these fat grips on, they try to pull 225 off the ground. That's how much challenging it makes it. Dude, but there is something about grip strength. You don't get it overnight, but once you have it, it's a really cool cheat code.
Let's rotate it open. Yep. So he's going to pin that elbow to his side. He's kind of in this overhand position, and then he's going to rotate it open. So basically the fat grip kind of gives you that good entry point of a good solid position on your hand, that solid purchase. As I've heard DJ mention in the past, if you don't have access to a fat grip, you definitely could just use your hand on the band, but it just kind of gives you that sturdy position that you can rotate off of and almost create a little bit more leverage because it's a little bit longer.
Yeah, anybody who does pull-ups, man, the diameter of the pull-up bar definitely matters. This one's skinnier than this one. You get on a big fat pull-up bar, To me, it probably cuts me down by 25% on the pull-ups I can do because my grip strength isn't going to be there. This is a really good cheat code for it.
So he's just going controlled reps. We might be in that 8 to 12 rep range here. I'm probably not really giving DJ reps on this. He's just kind of feeling through it, getting to that point of fatigue. Where are we getting to failure? I'm getting close to it. It's almost like I'm touching the curtain, but I'm not. Just getting to that point, really loading that tissue, controlling that rotation back in, and then from there, just kind of relinquishing that setup. I'll even see him sometimes, as he said right there, going from a different hand setup, challenging the opposite side of the elbow, more emphasizing of the forearm on the other side, but just different setups of loading this. We'll do this at the end of an arm day, maybe once or twice a week, 1 or 2 sets. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but if you just chip away with it throughout the year, hopefully we can be proactive with our grip and elbow strength so we don't have to be reactive to certain situations. Things are going to happen, injuries are going to occur, things are just going to pop up in the moment's notice, but the more we can do to hopefully prevent those things from happening, the better. All right, let's transition to a rice bucket now. If you've ever wrestled or played baseball, you probably messed with something like a rice bucket in the past, something we recently added in, but something we can challenge our grip and hand strength with as well. So DJ has the rice bucket here. He's gonna kind of grab in and just kind of grab and turn, just kind of playing with grip, letting that hand move freely as you challenge and strengthen those hands. But the big thing here that I want him to focus on is opening up. A lot of the grip work we do is grabbing, but allowing his hands to kind of open up and getting to that extended position of challenging those fingers, opening up, really strengthening the backside or the front side of this forearm where he was having those issues at. This is a preventive measure that we can do to kind of just strengthen the hands, the fingers, really focus on this area as he's opening his hand up, pushing away from the rice. And then from there, you can kind of explore around, just kind of grabbing, turning, whatever he feels comfortable with.
You call it extensor?
Yeah, extensors.
You can feel that 10 reps in. Like you can feel a massive forearm pump already starting. I have these, they're like wolf bands. They go on each individual finger to try to help open up. We got that when I had my thumb surgery. Those things are terrific, but I lose them all the time. My kids steal them. They think they're fake brass knuckles, so they're all over my house. This is a great way just to keep this thing in the gym. Just that overall elbow health.
Low-hanging fruit. This is just a simple bucket from Home Depot, a bag of rice from Harris Teeter, $6. Doesn't have to be expensive to be effective. So simple, the concentric portion only of that movement. There's not going to be much restricted or eccentric load, as DJ mentioned with the band setup. With you can buy those. Now you'll have more of that eccentric presence of controlling that movement back in. But the rice just kind of gives you that concentric propulsion of just kind of grabbing and pulling or turning and lifting. But then obviously the rice distributes after you move your hand.
Yeah, if you guys are struggling with tendonitis, man, it is not going to get better just by itself. You got to really exhaust all the resources, man.